Mama Grizzly Bear.
And I'm Nathan the Tiger.
Nathan the Tiger. So you're a tiger and I'm a bear?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my. All we need is a lion. Is Daddy the lion? Lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. So what we're going to finish is the video. This is part 2 of Joseph. Okay? We're going to talk about the Joseph story. Now we left off where Joseph was thrown in jail. Right? Potiphar's wife lied about something and lied about Joseph, got him thrown in jail. Joseph gets thrown in there. Eventually a couple of prisoners get put in there too. Each of them had dreams, and Joseph interpreted or gave them the meaning of the dream because God told Joseph what they meant, right? And you just got through saying, and we'll just read, I'll read what Nathan's little Bible says. Joseph explains dreams. In prison, one of the prisoners told Joseph about a dream he'd had. Joseph listened carefully, and God showed him what the man's dream meant. Joseph said that in 3 days the man would be working for the king of Egypt like he had before being put in prison. Sure enough, that's exactly what happened. Okay? The baker's dream. Another prisoner dreamed he had 3 baskets of bread that he had baked for the king. In his dream, the birds kept eating up all the bread. Joseph didn't have very good news about this dream. He said, in 3 days you will die. Can you imagine having to tell somebody that? Joseph told the truth. Okay, so but the one that went to work for the king, like I said, Joseph had said, please remember me and tell the king about me. He was hoping he'd be able to get out of jail, right? So now he's interpreted these dreams for these 2 guys. The king has a dream. One night, the king of Egypt dreamed that 7 skinny cows came from the river and ate up 7 fat cows. No one could figure out what the dream meant. Call for Joseph, said the first man, the one that came out of jail and lived, right? The one that was supposed to remember him but forgot. Had told Joseph his dream in prison. They did, and God showed Joseph what the king's dream meant. There would be 7 years with lots of food. Then there would be 7 years with almost no food. So what wound up happening was because Joseph was able to interpret the dream, what happened? The king heard that he knew that Joseph knew what he was talking about and heard from God. So he said, because you told me what this dream means, I'm going to put you in charge, right? Mm-hmm. So when the king heard what Joseph said, he did something amazing. He put Joseph in charge of gathering enough food to feed everyone during the hungry time. Hungry time is what we call a famine. It's where there's not enough food for everybody and people get hungry. So what they were doing was Joseph would store up the food in the time where they had lots of food coming in, lots of stuff growing. They'd go out, they'd pick it, and they'd store it up and save it for later because it was way more than they could eat. Because they knew that there was going to be coming a time because of what the king's dream, the fat cows and the skinny cows in that dream, the fat cows meant that there was going to be 7 years of lots of food, way more food than they could eat. But then there was coming 7 years after that of not enough food. So they were going to have to store up extra food during the good time for the hungry time when they didn't have enough food.
And I think he had another dream.
Okay, well let's wait. The king took off his royal ring and put it on Joseph's finger. This was a huge deal because if he put his ring on Joseph's finger, Joseph was truly in charge of everything. Joseph could make up rules with that ring. They would take that ring, they would take stuff kind of like wax, like crayon, and they would take the papers, they'd make up rules and they'd fold it in paper, and then they would take wax and they would melt it on the seal to close the paper, and then they would take that ring. See, my ring has like a little pattern. They would take the ring that had the king's seal, which was what Joseph was wearing, and they'd stamp it, right? And then that was an official seal, because what would happen was the wax would cool off and it would dry hard. And when that piece of paper was shown to people, it had the seal, so they knew. What? Well, it didn't look like this. I'm just saying that that's kind of what they had going on. So anyways, Joseph's brothers visit Egypt.
I need to.
We gotta finish the story, Bubba. We got 5 minutes. What did you want to tell him? What did you want to tell him?
Well, the king had another dream, I guess.
No, that's not that king. Different king.
No, I think he had.
Okay, go ahead and tell it, and then I'll tell you if it's right or not.
Well, I think he had a dream that there was 7 good crops, and there was other crops, and those crops ate up all the good crops.
Good. Come back. Good job.
It's like the good crops were food, lots and lots of food, and the bad crops were no food.
Right.
Because you can't eat dead crops.
Right. Joseph's brothers visit Egypt. So remember, we talked about the good time where they had lots of food, and then we talked about the hungry time, which is called famines. Famines that were to come. So now they're in the famine. So they've had the good years. Now they're in the bad years where there's not enough food for everybody. So Joseph's brothers go to Egypt because it's the next biggest, closest town where they were going to have to go and ask for food. Right? They were going to have to go ask for food. So for the next 7 years, Joseph stored lots of food. When the hungry time came, it was bad for other lands, but the people of Egypt had plenty of food. Joseph's family back home were very hungry. Go to Egypt and buy grain, Jacob told his sons. That's Joseph's daddy. Okay? So the 10 brothers, not all of them, but 10 of them, all of the oldest ones, went to Egypt. The youngest brother, Benjamin, which remember Nathan talked about last time, about the one brother that said, don't hurt him, just throw him in the pit instead. He didn't want him hurt. That was Benjamin. Okay? Benjamin stayed home, the youngest brother. Okay? Spies. When the brothers came to the palace, Joseph knew right away who they were. But they didn't recognize him. You're spies, he said to test them. Now he knew that they weren't spies, but he said it to see what they would say. They replied, no, we've come to buy food. They told Joseph about their family. So one day Joseph's brothers needed more food. So he had given them food the first time. They came again another time, and they were hungry again. Please don't mess. He's got a loose tooth, right? Go show everybody your loose tooth. Show them.
See the one sticking out there? That's the loose one.
Okay. So when Joseph came to the feast, what Joseph had was he decided, all right, I'm going to have a big dinner for all these brothers, right? They came the second time. What? Does it have to do with this?
I just want to tell them about my tooth.
Okay. Well, hurry up.
The top two, and the top two are always hard to get out.
Yeah. Bless your heart. He's lost one of his front teeth. Now the other one's loose. Okay. They came back to Egypt and brought Benjamin with them this time, because that's what Joseph had said. He said, I want you to go ahead and go home. You can take this food, but I want you to bring your brother back, right? Joseph told his servants to prepare a feast for them. When Joseph came to the feast, all the brothers bowed to him. See, remember the dream he had about the wheat? So they did bow down to him because they needed food. It was just like Joseph's dream about his brother's bundles of wheat bowing down to his. Joseph tricks his brothers. When Joseph saw Benjamin, he was so happy he began to cry. See, he and Benjamin have the same mom. Not all the brothers had the same mom. Okay? I don't know why that's... Anyway. But he didn't let anyone see his tears. Joseph gave the brothers the grain they wanted. Oh, this is how he tricked them. This is when he said, you leave Benjamin with me. You leave the youngest brother with me. He still hasn't told them who he was. Okay? They still don't know that that's his brother, that that's their brother. The rule was whoever took something from the... Oh, okay. But he tricked them. Okay, Joseph tricked his brothers. He put his cup in Benjamin's sack. The rule was whoever took something from the ruler had to be a servant. Benjamin couldn't go home, so that's how he got him to stay. Jacob goes to Egypt. The brothers begged Joseph not to keep Benjamin. Joseph saw that their hearts had changed. He said, I'm your brother Joseph.
I want to tell them what Joseph did.
Okay, go ahead and tell them.
You know what Joseph did?
What?
To get Benjamin back to the family?
What?
He sent the 2 guards out of the room.
Yeah. Sent the 2 guards out of the room. And anyway, he told them now. He says, I am your brother Joseph. You sold me to be a slave, but God sent me here to save your lives. Remember when I told you that sometimes bad things happen, but God has a reason for it?
Mm-hmm.
So what happened was God allowed Joseph to be sent as a slave to Egypt because he knew one day he was going to set him up to be able to save Joseph's family. He'd have enough food to save them. So he said, go get our dad, bring him with you, y'all move here and come stay with me. And we'll be family here again. And they did. That's all we have for, all the time we have for today. But we pray that you have a great day, and please let us know if these visits with you through Sun Snacks are blessing you. Have a great day. We love you.
Love you. Cuckoo Coodle.